hit record because somebody's going to jump on me if I don't recording on this computer. All right, I believe that the recording has started, and I'm going to thank each of you again for the sake of the recording for joining us on tonight. We do have Mary. The chat, just to give you a little bit of what I think I know, I think that you have the opportunity to go in the chat, and if you have any questions, you can actually go into your chat and say something, or if you have a question, like what happened is your hand to go up and I can lower the hand and go on the chat and see where you may be asking a question. Okay. Yes, Nathan, like that. I like that. Yes, this is a lot of fun, ain't it? So just to start us off, we're getting ready to have our guest. Yes, Teresa, look like I'm gonna let this hand down because she's finding her way through too. I see a hand. Okay. I don't see yours, Teresa, although I saw your hand up. I was supposed to hit lower the hand and you're supposed to come through. Haven't seen it yet. Okay, but you guys don't see my Zoom group chat or any of those things, do you?
No.
Okay, good. Okay, great. Okay, so this is going to be, I know some of you have been in our Investment 101 class before. We have done the 4-hour training. I've done the 2-hour training. And in Louisiana, I did that 15-minute training. Looked like it was about 15 minutes because I really just needed to get some information in. And I didn't want to leave the event. Everything else was going so well that we just got it all in there and got you open enough to the fact that we should be investing. So what I'm going to do is our training is duplicated always. And so I know this is going to be elementary for some of you, but perhaps sometime every now and then you can put a little something in there that I think that I always learn, no matter how many times I'm in a training period. So this is going to be a series, okay, of training. We're going to do this one a little slow. I'm going to hit some avenues that I think that Mr. Charles Thomas may, he's there, but at least you will not be so oblivious to the information or so dumbfounded. A lot of times when you don't know, you either just feel like you all clogged up, you don't understand anything till it becomes pressure, or you fall asleep, or you feel like you wasted your time. So in order to really follow him along, we're going to make sure that we have some basic information so that we can do so, okay? So now, first of all, in investing, I want to let all of the my economists know, and since I'm recording, hopefully those that are going back or will go back and listen, that investing works better when you have some money to invest, right? You thought I was going to say something great revelation, but it just works better when you have some money so you can invest. As a matter of fact, if you don't have any money, then you have nothing to invest, which is the situation that is captivating for over 80% of all Americans. We know, and that's not just saying anything, that's the truth. You know, if you look at yourself, look at your family members, look at what we're raising up in our children, we don't have an excess of income or extra income in which we are even able to go and invest. And some of it is not even being passed along to our generation. And so they're going to be in the same situation that we have been in or that we are in now, unless we get it ourselves and be able to pass it along to them. So the reason I'm showing you this cash flow strategist is because this is one of the first steps in my econ. In every my econer, every member of my econ should have this cash flow strategist completed. Why? Because this is going to show you the money. It's going to also show you how to gain the capital that you need to be an investor and to be financially free, okay? And so the first part that we're going to actually talk about, and if you have not done this, you're really on the late bus. I mean, because this is This is necessary. This is really, really necessary. And for those who have team members, it is necessary that you take the time out to make sure that they hear the videos with you in place. You can pull up my video. You can pull up the video from the home office that's in the back office, and you can just play the video. You don't have to give lyrics, but to it if you don't understand it all. But I would do whatever is necessary to get people to understand that this is the next step. Listen, in teaching budgeting, and as much as we taught it in these 12 years that I've been in my econ, it was this year that it hit me, reteaching, and reteaching, that the most important tools for anything that we're doing, which it includes our credit, it includes our debt elimination, it includes our investing, is number one, it's going to start with budgeting, okay? Budgeting, even for our future retirement. I talked about on the call last week, you got to have a retirement budget, and you have it now. You don't wait until you retire, because you got to look ahead at what's going on. And I hope Nathan will get a chance to come on here and talk to us about Medicare, Medicaid, how that works, give us some tips and things like that, and train us what we need to do to get in place. Actually show us some things that we can do to get ourselves in place or to look forward to, okay? But it's the second to that is the cash flow strategist, okay? We know we've got, we change our W-4, we get the extra income in our household from that. We turn around and we do our record keeping because we are engaged in business activity, and we save money from that. However, our cash flow strategist is what gives our money direction. And the direction that we want to go in, the reason we use the cash flow strategist is so that we can become investors. That is the whole apple, the whole point of my econ is become an investor. Now, do you have to become a trade genius? No, you do not have to become a genius at trading your money on the market. That some people do that. They scare people away because they're just gifted in doing that. For me, honestly, I just want to put my money in a vehicle and make it grow. I'm not interested in looking at the Dow Jones every day, but I am interested in understanding what the Dow Jones is in case I need to look at it. I'm interested in knowing how to understand the performance history on my investments. I want to know what my rate of return is. I want to know these things, but I'm not trying to sit up every day and watch it and have conversations, deep, spooky conversations that I can't have no how. And so it's really simple to get yourself started in some type of way of investing. And most of us, if we've had a job and we've had anything like a 401k, 403b, annuities and things of this nature introduced to us on our job, then we've been introduced to investing, okay? It's just not true investments, and it makes a difference. I'm not going to talk about that because it's probably, Mr. Thomas is probably going to talk about that in the training when he gets here on the first Saturday in November. So this area right here is your retirement freedom goal, which this is where I'm going from tonight. This is what we want to talk about a little bit. Keep this in mind because this is the second step to putting your vision to your money, which is the first step in the cash flow strategist. Not only that, and why I can't find my cursor, it goes away, I do not know. Okay, and not only that, when we talk about gaining cash flow or money, we're actually talking about debt, eliminating your debt. This form, and this is only an example, helps us eliminate debt. We're talking about minimizing expenses, and there is a method to this madness, all right? You got to know that there is a method to the madness, and that is exactly what we want to do, is make ourselves. Let me say this. I hear people in my econ all the time say, Clarissa, I just don't have time to do this. But they have the desire to come out of their negative cash flow. They don't have a big enough desire, or I guess they're not using wisdom, because as I read this week, our wisdom is applied knowledge. You might have the desire, but you lose the wisdom, or you don't have the wisdom because the things that are before you, you're not taking advantage of. And if you ever want to come all the way out of anything, you've got to apply what you've learned and make it work for you. So that means you got to make time. That means you have to prioritize what you already have going on. And if you're too busy to take care of your money, then you're too busy. That's the bottom line. You're just too busy. All right. Well, somebody let Miss Lambert know that we are on the call. She's calling me. So with that being said, I'm going to go over to back to the screen that I had up, and then we're going to go from there. Do we have any comments or questions? All right. So we're going to go to our first order of business. Excuse me a minute. I need to get up and get my little notes here. And that is asset, income, and you, our investment smart. Okay. Now let's talk about this. Investing, we have a choice when we are members of MyEcon to be financially free, to just do it where we don't have any bills, and we get a chance to live our lifestyle the way we want to, or we have the opportunity to push this thing to a whole nother level and become wealthy. Well, when you talk about wealth, you really need to be able to define it in a way that it touches you and it reaches you where you are. Now, I like the definitions. Of course I would, because my trainer and my mentor is Mr. Ivy Stokes. And so the definition, or what we've always thought about wealth, was, something that was so deep and spooky that we would never get our hands on. We would never be wealthy, okay? But the dictionary, Webster's dictionary, let me say this. We thought we'd never be wealthy because of the Webster's dictionary, which is an abundance of riches, resources, or valuable possessions, abundant amount, all goods, property, and resources having monetary value. Okay, that's how Webster defines it. Well, Ivy and other financial educators, gurus, professionals began to see that wealth has a whole nother perspective and dynamic to it. Wealth is simply income producing assets that's going to provide you income or provide income to beneficiaries after you're gone. It's when the income covers your cost of your lifestyle, okay? That's when you're wealthy, because you have basically more than you need, and you can do what you want to do with what you have, and you can live off of it forever. That's the common sense definition of wealth. I don't know anybody. That one makes me feel better, because I feel like I don't have to go as far to create wealth as, and like I missed something because I didn't know it when I was 5 years old. Okay. All of us can get to a wealthy place, and all of us can create this area in our lifestyle. But before that, we've got to understand how that's done, and we have to shift our mindset and shift our efforts in a way that we get there. Okay. So technically Webster is correct, but there is a difference between different kinds of properties and or assets. Let's look at this example. Example 1. Person A pays for $130,000 for clothes, shoes, jewelry, and cars. In example 2, person B pays $130,000 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in a middle-class neighborhood. In example 3, person C pays $130 down payment on a 12-unit apartment building appraised at $900,000. Now, the question is, how much money will you make from your assets next year if, well, that's not the right question right then, but which is the difference? What is the difference here? Which one is actually going to be more valuable to you? You probably guessed it right. Person B, example 3. Because when it comes to different types of assets and properties, you've got other income to look at. We talk about limited income. We talk about well, the whole thing is called passive income, but parts of the passive income include residual income. It includes income producing assets, different ways, royalties of building income. And this one, number 3, is actually, or person C, is actually a type of residual income that's going to have a more lasting value that can be passed down to beneficiaries even. If you needed to sell it and make money, you got to be making money, then you got to be making money, which is a position you want to be in. Cash, asset, cash. You're going to make money, you're going to take that money, and that money is going to make money. So it's more valuable to invest your funds or your money into properties that have a greater value and a greater product to you, okay? If I can put it that way. So your question now is, how much money will I make from my assets next year if I do not work? Now that's a pretty deep question, because we ain't got nothing. You know, most people are in the position where all we have are consumer goods that have no value, like person A, who pays $130,000 for clothes, shoes, jewelry, and cars, which will more than likely depreciate, will carry no value. And all you can do is go have a rummage sale and get what you can out of it. Sell everything for $1 or $2 and hope you make $100 off of it. All right? Now, the concept of personal financial success is this. It's about your desired income level for your lifestyle. Everybody's going to be different. Everybody has a desire. This is what we talk about in our cash flow strategies. You have to get in your head, what do you desire to live on? When you get ready to retire, if it's 15 years, 8 years from now, 5 years from now, you have to get a number in your head. What can I live on? What do I desire? And that desire is different for everybody. It's different depending on where you are financially, as to, do you have debt eliminated? Do you have any assets accumulated? Or where geographically where you live, what it would take for you to live. You know, those sorts of things factor into your desire to have income, and whether you want to take trips when you retire. Say you want to take a lot of vacations, you want to stay on the road. I know one lady who does that. She's on Facebook all the time. I am just like amazed. I wish I was in that position, but baby, she is out of here. She is on all the cruises she can take. She goes to everything, and she's not boasting about it. She's enjoying her retirement. So your desired income level for your lifestyle is definitely an individual matter. But you got to understand that on one side, you got new money. And as long as you have a job, right? As long as you have a job, then that's creating new money. That's income from your labor. That's new money. It really doesn't grow. You just work for it. But if you take that new money and you invest it over time, and years and year after year and year after year, that becomes old money. And that old money is the type of money that your children and your grandchildren can live from. You guys understand that? So that's where we want to be. We want to be in a position where we have old money. We don't want to always have to go work to get new money and put it in the wrong products that do not create money for us. Okay. That's where you hear people saying, I work all day like a dog. I work all day like a dog and I'll have a penny to show for it. No, you won't, because you're not doing anything with those finances. Okay. Now, there's a process to building, buying, and creating an asset. And this training tonight is where we're starting with the process, getting your mindset ready for our investment class, getting your mindset ready so that you can go after eliminating your debt, minimizing expenses, getting your credit on point, and being able to take everything that you saved, every area that's been healed, and take that money and go into investing, okay? And again, we're simply doing this tonight as a base, and every week from here on out, we're gonna do something new to add to it, okay? So why investments exist? Okay, why do investments exist? Okay, investments, capitalization and fees is basically about raising cheap dollars. Okay, capitalism capitalizes on everybody. That's the society we live in, and they definitely capitalizes on people who are unlearned about money. Okay, we walk in the store all of the time. We'll go in one store, and one store will have a pair of shoes, $78. You think, man, I'm getting me a deal. And then if you would wait a while, or go down the streets, you'll find the same shoes for $55 or even less than that. And if you wait a while, you'll finally find the shoes for what they really worth. Okay, well, they're capitalizing off of our ignorance, because a lot of us, have the mindset we want to buy the higher product, or we want to buy the product with the name on it and pay more money for it, because that's got to be the best product. We don't understand. We don't understand capitalism. We don't understand business. We don't understand markups. We don't understand buying and selling and how all of this industry works. And we certainly don't understand money and how it works with the bank. But banks, what they do is investments. They sell you a type of investment so they can make money. And the one that they're going to sell you most is going to be the cheaper way for them to make money. Okay, bank loans, bank loans, money, or reinvest the money at higher rates of return for banks' potential profits. So anytime we go and get a loan from a bank, know that the bank is reinvesting your money. Now, they will give you a loan for 5-6%. All right. They might even go higher than that. They might finance you a car loan and they charge you 10%. Then they turn around and they reinvest that same money and they invest it into stocks and bonds, and they will do so at 19% interest rate and make more money. But cheap loans are those that we keep running to the banker, getting on our name, either with collateral or without collateral, with high interest rate on simple interest, and they're making millions of dollars off of us. Okay? I'm going to go to the next slide. I don't know how. All right. So tonight what we're going to do is we're going to simply separate the industry and how investment products. There are 4 categories, okay? Just we're laying down simple investment education. There are 4 categories of investments. The first one is cash equivalents, okay? The second one is bonds. The third is stocks, and the fourth is private business. I'm just going to talk a little bit about each one of them, and so you'll know where your money is going. Okay, you're investing, and sometimes you don't even know you're investing because you open a bank account and you open a savings account. All right, cash equivalents is currency, coins, checks that's received that have not been deposited, checking accounts, petty cash, savings accounts, money market accounts, short-term accounts, high liquidable investments with maturity of at least 3 months or less, such as U.S. Treasury bonds, commercial paper, marketable security, money market funds, and short-term government bonds. So let's say that again. In cash equivalents, okay, which is our first investment industry product, it is about liquidable assets. Anything you can go grab that dollar bill, that currency, that coin, turn it into quick cash and you use it. Okay, it's us opening a bank account, open a savings account, open checking accounts, getting money market accounts like CDs and things of this nature, treasury bills, commercial paper, things that we can turn over a book just like that, okay, and get our hands on it. Number 2 is about bonds, which I have government on the slide. Let me tell you what it is. It's a debt security, okay? It's simply what we used to do to each other. It's an IOU, okay? I owe you. I borrowed it. I put it in there. I borrowed it from you, but I owe you back. So the borrower issues bonds to raise money from investors willing to lend them money for a certain amount of time. It's what our government is based on. It's what our city councils are based on. Our cities are run through bonds. We borrow money for a certain amount of time from the federal government, okay? And these bond funds are backed by municipal corporations and our government, which is always guaranteed, because you got to pay them back. You see, you've got to pay them back. So I don't even want to talk about that, I'm sure Mr. Long. Well, I don't want to get ahead of the game, but bonds are generally the most secure investments because of the fact that they're going to be paid back. They're government and municipal bonds, they're debt bonds, and there's a debt loan that's got to be paid back some kind of way. Their fixed income security is going to come back to you, okay? Then your stocks is about investing into industries, corporations, Apple, Walmart, travel, Priceline. You've got technology companies, the health field. A lot of these areas are actually investment areas, okay? And so what you can do is you put a certain amount of money in this company because you're saying this company is going to yield assets and earnings in the long run. So I'm going to put up a certain amount of money. That money is going to be in shares. I'm going to get my return off of how many shares I buy into this company. So this is one of the high risk investments because you don't know if a company is going to produce an income or if they're going to stay in the hole or if they're going to close on you. So that's a high risk investment, is to do stocks, okay? And then the final category is the private business, okay? Private business. There are people who get together, private companies that said, listen, we're all going to put in $1 million. Okay, I don't know if anybody watches Remorse, Survivor's Remorse. But in Survivor's Remorse, they are at the point where several of them got together and they put up some money because they see a building. There's a building there and they see what they can turn it into. So these private investors get together, or they've got together and they pool their money together so that they can raise up a certain vision for this building. And this building is supposed to yield a lot of money once they get it operating. So that's part of private business investing. Also part of private business investing is real estate. It can be cattle, things of that nature. It can be cattle. It can be silver and gold. These things are a part of the private business investment area. Okay, so 4 areas: cash equivalent, bonds, stocks, and private business. I hope you understood that. All right. Now we're going to go to the next slide, which talk about some of the products that come with these areas. Alternative ways of investing are insurance. Now, insurance is not a true investment, but it's an alternative way of investing because what people have done is, which is a huge industry, insurance is a huge industry, and it makes big bucks. But, people who can't or who have not had assets and don't know how to do the other electives as an asset and put money back, what they do is they go and they turn around and they buy insurance, okay? They will turn around and buy insurance as an investment. It's not just number one recommendation, but people will go out and buy it and say, I'm going to buy $300,000 policy to leave to my family, when I die. And when they, so that's all I'm going to say about that. But that's what happens. And when they die, they got $300,000. They probably paid $600,000 for the policy when they die. But it is a type of investment, okay? Mutual funds, other real estate and tax advantage investments like IRAs, the Roth IRA, the traditional IRAs, and things of that nature, okay? Now, this chart right here, we're just simply showing you a financial planning pyramid. If you're going to invest, I think this graph shows you really well if you become an investor, you invest and make money according to your risk level. Okay. If you are a high risk individual, you don't mind taking chances, then right about here, blue chip common stock. Remember, we talked about stocks were risky, right? You might pour lots of money into stocks, bonds, mutual funds. You may go and invest into a real estate. That may be a farm or some land that you see. And when you see that, you may be at the point where you say, listen, I can turn this land. Oh, here's another show I like. Sugar, I can't think of it. It's Sugar something that comes on with all the black people in New Orleans.
Queen Sugar.
Queen Sugar, there you go, Queen Sugar. So they have the cane, the farming, the sugar canes. And so that's a type of risky investment. It's a high risk investment. You might invest into farmland where you can see that you can raise a lot of wheat, or you can raise corn and these things. All of this collectibles. You may invest into paintings and you may invest into silver and things overseas and so forth. You got to know your risk level when you start to invest. And so midway here, those who are low risk investors who are pretty much like me, even those who are aged, who don't have time to lose any of their money, they may go this way. They may want to get balanced mutual funds or high-grade preferred stock, high-grade convertible bonds. They just keep going down to, I just put my money into a bank account and save it off of simple interest, and I know I got it, Might put it on the bed mattress. It may be U.S. savings bonds or CDs or treasury bonds. But just know that if you're going to become, it is up to you. You've got to know your risk level, and there are a lot of things that's going to be calculated into that, and we'll talk about that a little later. Okay. Now let's take a look at between simple interest and compound interest, because when you're investing, you must understand that these types of investments have a different type of interest that you make money from or you don't make money from. Okay. Simple interest is simple. It's just interest paid on the principal only and not on any accumulated interest, okay? Got a little formula here. Don't want to try to go into math on you. You can go and look for this thing, look for videos on investopedia.com. But here's one way of remembering simple interest and the formula through PIN, P-I-N. PIN is the loan amount, okay? That's the principal amount that's being borrowed. Okay, or that's been put up. I is the interest rate on the principal amount, and N is the number of years or the duration of the loan. Okay, that's generally given on loans, or you also have simple interest when it comes to putting up money in a bank savings. Okay, because that bank will make money on your savings account and some of them on your checking account. But they don't yield you any type of return like compound interest. They yield it as simple interest to you. And this example just shows that $100,000 invested times 5% times 1 year yields of $5,000. Okay. Now what happens is if that was 2 years, and just say you added $100,000 and this $5,000, it would be $105,000. If it was still on simple interest, you would not get an interest on $105,000. You would get, your interest would be on $100,000 again for the second year, okay, which grows slower than compound interest. Let's take a look. Examples of simple interest is this. To understand how simple interest works, examine an automobile loan that has a $15,000 principal balance and an annual 5% simple interest rate. If your payment is due on May 1st and you pay it precisely on the due date, your interest is calculated on 30 days in April. Okay, that's before May 1st. That's April 30th. Your interest on the 30th day at 5% simple interest is $61.64. Now, if you make the payment on April 21st, look what happens. The finance company charges you interest on only 20 days and not 30 days. Now, I want to put this example in here because many times you hear us when we're in our credit and our debt classes, we're trying to teach you that if you pay your credit card or pay your loans earlier than your cycle date, you save money. Here's the example, because we're talking about simple interest, which is on those loans, okay? Or those credit cards, which is still another loan to you, okay? So if you pay it early, look at what happens. This person paid it earlier than the 30th day, which is a cycle date, and they actually saved $20. Y'all got that? So I just wanted you to see that's the only advantage you have. You got to understand simple interest and how it works so you can take advantage of it, because we do have times, and we're going to continue to borrow in places where simple interest, we don't have the cash for. We need to understand how it can work for our benefit. So the people that benefit the most from simple interest loan are consumers who pay their loans on time or early. That's the only people that's going to benefit. If you practice paying your bills late, then you're going to pay thousands more dollars for that loan than you would have if you paid it on time or you paid it early. The other beneficiaries of this simple interest is your mortgage loan company when you pay it late, your car financing companies when you paying it late or paying it right on time, and any other bank loans. Okay? Any questions or comments on that? Or we'll wait later if you want to comment later. Now let's take a look at the difference between simple interest, how it works, and compound interest. Compound interest is interest on interest. I'm not sure. Did I spell it right? No, I didn't. I put an E in there. So we ain't gonna mess. INTE. I did it right, didn't I? Okay.
That is correct, Miss Clarissa.
Okay,
That is correct.
I don't know why that looks so crazy to me right there. So let's look at the power of compound interest. Compound interest growth is interest on interest, where that $100,000, that $5,000 would not be added to it if it was put in a bank account, and it wouldn't be that 5% on all of that money. I'm thinking I'm making it simple for you, okay? It actually, every time your money grows in compound interest, you're going to get money is going to be made off of the total balance of it, or the total principal now. So just a simple chart right here just talks about 1 year principal of $1,000. The interest on here is 4%. So that's $40. That gives a total principal plus the interest of $1,040. Now that new principal, you see that? That new principal becomes $1,040. Now that 4% growth rate is going to be applied to the whole $1,040. That's going to give a new principal plus interest of $1,081.60. Keep on. The third year, the principal becomes, it's the principal plus the interest. Now you're going to draw money from the principal and the interest, and that's going to get you to the point of $1,169. No, $1,124, and so on. So I'm thinking, without me going through all of this chart, you guys get the picture that compound interest grows faster. So this is why we encourage everybody to move away from all of your money being tied up with simple interest for years and years at a time, because you're not making any money. But if you went into an investment vehicle which yields compound interest and higher, now this is just at 4%. We recommend, if you're risky, which if you call and you're making investments, they're going to say 8% is risky. Well, that's where you need to be. You know, take greater risk depending on your age level. You do this kind of stuff when you're 20, 18, 19, and you got kids. They got a long time, because over a period of time, if you got compound interest and you don't touch that money, guess what? If a child at 20 years old or 21 years old makes $400 a month investment, or $4,000 a year, by the time they're 65 years old, they have over $1 million. That's why we want them to invest early. That's why we wanted to invest early. Now that we are, then there are some people who make aggressive investments because they got to play catch up. But if you're going to play catch up, you can't catch up with simple interest. You're only going to be able to catch up with compound interest. All right. So that's pretty much all to create financial freedom. I got a question. I should have put a question mark. Under which interest type will you benefit? Somebody answer that for me.
Compound.
Compound.
Absolutely. Compound interest. Okay. And this is the concept of MyEcon, is to get you where you have created a positive cash flow by bringing your money home from your W-4, saving on your taxes, eliminating your debt, raising your credit score so you can pay less on your products and pay it off sooner, keep that money. And then when you accumulate that cash, you should then turn around and invest in a vehicle that's going to create passive income that's going to give you true financial success. Okay? So that is our first training, y'all. I'm going to open the lines now to comments. If we have any guests on the call, let us know that you are here.
Clarissa,
Yes, ma'am.
could I see that single interest screen again?
Okay, that one right there.
Simple interest. Wasn't there one kind of like the compound interest screen that showed if you invested
This it was a little different. It's this one right here.
okay, gotcha.
Okay. Anybody else? Any
Miss Clarissa.
Yes, ma'am.
So the investment that I have at my job, that's a simple interest. Is that correct?
Do you have
So I'm not really making nothing.
You have a 403B?
I think so.
Well, I don't think it's simple. I think it's just low interest because it's not a high-end, high-risk product, not 403Bs.
Okay.
But you know what? If I were you, I would call them and say, I'm trying to empower y'all, or I probably could answer that for you because I've seen it and I know them. But I want you to be confident in being able to ask about your personal business like that. So call and ask them.
Okay.
Call and ask the company, is my money growing on simple interest or compound interest?
Okay, I sure will.
Okay. All right. That's a good question. Did you learn something tonight, Michelle?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it clear for everybody tonight?
It was right on my speed. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. Any other questions, comments?
This was good.
Okay. All righty. Well, thank you then. And that is all that, that's it for tonight. I don't want to take anybody too fast, and that's our hour, and that's what we promise you. And we hope that next week you'll be back on the call. We'll go into another area of investing so that we can take it slow. Like that song, John Legend says, take it slow. So we're going to take it slow, and everybody's going to be ready on that first Saturday training. All right, you guys. Thank you for joining us, and good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.